Hot dogs and hamburgers enjoyed at barbecues with iced tea and lemonade. But the 4th of July wouldn't be complete without fireworks lighting up the sky. Tonight, we're bringing you the best seat in the house. So sit back and enjoy Central Florida's largest and longest running show, Fireworks at the Fountain at Orlando's Lake Eola Park. Hi, everybody, and happy 4th of July, and welcome to the 38th annual Fireworks at the Fountain at Lake Eola in downtown Orlando. The rain has held off. Good news. I'm Greg Warmit.
I'm Vanessa Eccles. We're live outside World of Beer right on Lake Eola. The park is already packed with people ready for tonight's show.
But we've got you covered from every angle. We have Sky Witness 9 up in the air for a bird's eye view.
And more than one crew on the ground to make sure you don't miss a thing.
Yeah, we've got you taken care of.
Exactly. Channel 9's Jeff Coolidge is at the middle of the crowd. And Jeff, more than 100,000 people are expected to pack the park tonight for the show.
Yeah, there's a ton of people that are here at Lake Eola. There's still plenty of seats if you're wanting to come down here still to see tonight's fireworks, but there is a sea of red, white, and blue people dressed up, waiting to see those fireworks take to the sky. Tim Hall and his family have come to the Fireworks at the Fountain show for the last 12 years.
This is a great fireworks. It's a good time to spend with your family and get together and do things and walk around the lake, have some snacks. Just enjoy time together.
Some folks like Erin Webb of Orlando and her family got here nearly 7 hours early to ensure a front row seat.
I like how they glow up the night. It's like when the fireworks come in the sky and they put lights in the fountain in the middle of the pond. It's very nice looking.
Food, music, and games line the walk around Lake Eola to help pass the time for the thousands of people who came out to see big booms and sparkling lights.
The energy down here is phenomenal. I can say just by walking around Lake Eola right now, I am proud, grateful, and honored to be an American.
And there's a lot of people that are saying the same thing. They are proud to be an American. Now, coming up a little bit later, the mayor is going to start the countdown and push the button for the fireworks to take off. But for now, reporting live at Lake Eola, Jeff Coolidge. We'll send it back to you, Greg and Vanessa.
And as you might be able to see behind us, visitors to the park tonight and throughout the year see the signature Lake Eola fountain.
It is beautiful right now. You see red, green, and blue. It is fantastic. It was one of the major focuses of Mayor Buddy Dyer several years back after the fountain was struck by lightning and was out of commission. Well, now he's directed his attention to other projects because the fountain's working. And I talked with the mayor about Orlando's past, present, and future. Keep our community safe, generate high-quality jobs, become one of the most sustainable cities in America, provide mobility and transportation options, create a city for everyone, and end homelessness. Those are Mayor Dyer's key priorities. A city for everyone, what does that entail?
Well, Greg, it really means meeting the needs of all of our residents and all of our visitors.
Visitors that have made Orlando now the country's #1 tourist destination.
We have 62 million visitors, and they're very diverse, but so is our population.
A population that Mayor Dyer hopes feels welcome.
We're very multicultural. We're a very accepting city, a tolerant city. We are a city that believes in fairness and equality.
And with tonight's fireworks at the fountain front and center, the mayor says he wants people to know that parks are a major priority. How important are parks and recreation in the building and the future of Orlando?
Well, parks and recreation are all about the livability of a community. So we have certainly over the last 12 years really increased the number of parks, community centers that we have.
And with this being the 4th, the mayor also wanted to remind residents that seniors and veterans are high on the list of making sure they feel welcome and have the services they need.
And then, of course, we have a senior advisory committee that helps us figure out the best ways to keep seniors mobile and active.
What is the city doing to help veterans in our community?
Our goal is to be the most veteran-friendly community in the whole United States. I have a veteran advisory committee that is extremely active.
The mayor also wanted folks to know that there are all kinds of things, a focused effort on children, saying they serve roughly 11,000 students or children every day in our community, especially around the summer with food, activities, and tutoring.
Well, today, thousands of people across the country are celebrating their first Independence Day as Americans, including 25 new citizens in Central Florida. These are just some of these new citizens who went through the naturalization ceremony at the Orlando Immigration Services office. We were there as 50 people from 42 countries took the oath of allegiance in April. One Vietnam vet from Great Britain says he has been waiting 52 years for this day.
It's an opportunity for me and my family, so we love it here. So it's a great experience, and this is a great start of a new life. So.
Well, last year, more than 65,000 people across the country became citizens. This is no easy feat. Think you could pass the test? Well, we posted the practice test online. Just head to WFTV.com/weblinks and just see how you do.
Right now, you've heard maybe a couple of boomers go off. They're singing the national anthem right now. I'm going to pause for a second as they finish the national anthem. Let's listen in. Go. Now, there's a lot of activity, not just happening here, but also in Daytona, Vanessa, a pair of races.
Yes, the Xfinity Series hit the track tonight, and the Coke 0400, of course, is set for tomorrow. It's big. Channel 9 sports anchor Joe Kepner joins us live from the Speedway. And, Joe, cars on the track right now, huh?
They are on the track. They're in a caution. The green flag dropped a little bit later than we expected tonight because of the rain. But hey, it's America's birthday. We are going to get some fireworks here as soon as this one ends. But qualifying for tomorrow's race was washed out today. They waited an hour and a half before canceling the Coke 0400 qualifying because of the new rules. The pole goes to the fastest car in the first practice session. That happens to belong to Dale Earnhardt Jr. So the 88 will lead the field to green tomorrow night. But right now, Junior, his team, and everyone else just waiting for the race to end, 90 laps away from one of the best fireworks shows in Central Florida.
What we do for anything Daytona related, it's big and bold. The Daytona Rising Project is big and bold. So the fireworks that we're going to have, it's the Southeast's biggest fireworks show. So we've got that planned for Saturday and Sunday. It'll be a nice window of time after each race. So for us, we want to make sure it's big and bold. It really lives up to the Daytona brand.
And Chitwood actually said tomorrow's fireworks show is a little bit bigger than tonight's, and as long as there's no rain, it should actually start on time, maybe a little sooner. Greg, Vanessa?
Okay, go ahead and toss it.
All right, we are just minutes away from the launch of the 2015 fireworks at the Fountain Celebration.
And you have the best seat in the house. Don't
Absolutely.
go anywhere. You won't miss any of the excitement. We'll be right back.
And welcome back to our 2015 coverage live show here. Fireworks at the Fountain. Weather is okay. I was a little nervous earlier today.
Boy, it looked like we were going to see a light show from Mother Nature, but just absolutely perfect. We're listening for the mayor to begin the countdown. Let's take some shots to show you a little bit of the angles that you'll see tonight as they get set to get things going. Sky Witness 9 HD, a beautiful shot there. You see the fountain right there in the middle of your screen, Vanessa. And listen, the mayor is about ready to count things down. Let's listen to Mayor Buddy Dyer as we count down for Fireworks at the Fountain 2015.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start the fireworks!
That was impressive.
Yes.
I thought we had 1, 2, 3 grand finales.
Yeah.
Right when you thought it was over, another round, and then another round. That was fantastic.
Wow. Don't think it's overselling it to say that it was spectacular, especially the end. So.
I think they know what they're doing. Man, that was absolutely outstanding. Hopefully everybody enjoyed that at home. It felt like the view here was great, but as I watched the monitors as well with Sky Witness and our cameras around here, that hopefully we painted a real good picture for you at home as well.
Exactly. Folks at home did not miss a thing. Well, the fireworks may be over, but we still have plenty of celebrating to do.
Coming up, we'll show that grand finale ×3 again, and also see how extreme sports are helping some of the brave men and women who are injured while defending our freedom. That and more as we continue with fireworks at the fountain. Happy Independence Day, happy 4th of July. What a great show. Welcome back to our 9 Family Connection 4th of July special at Lake Eola. We just wrapped up a great fireworks show here at Lake Eola. You can still see and smell the smoke in the air. And if you missed the grand finale, stick around because we'll have another look at it in just minutes coming up for you.
But first we want to talk about how the 4th of July is so much more than just a time for barbecues and fireworks. Since 1776, the 4th has been considered, of course, the birth of our nation. So now we want to take a moment to look at some of those heroic men and women who have sacrificed to make sure we can celebrate this holiday every year, starting with one wounded warrior who is using extreme sports to stay competitive. Anthony Reditek served his country for 10 years as an Army helicopter pilot for the Special Operations Forces.
It's a very dangerous job. You're always on the edge. It's exciting.
He was injured in an accident, paralyzing him from the waist down. But his physical limitations have not stopped his drive to compete and live life to the fullest. He started doing adaptive extreme sports to scratch his competitive itch. Hand cycling marathons, downhill skiing, underwater racing. His latest extreme sport, jet ski racing.
All of the guys in the military that I was around, they're all type A personalities, always trying to outdo the other guys. So competing it's in my nature, it's in my DNA.
Anthony is the only disabled racer in the series. Once he's on the boat and running, his physical limitations on land fade away on the water.
Jet ski racing, being out in the water is like a good equalizer.
Obviously, his injury isn't slowing him down. His message to anyone facing a physical challenge, find a sport that satisfies your desire to compete.
Any sport is better than just sitting on a couch. It makes you feel better. It gives you a purpose, a better life purpose. You get to judge yourself. I obviously can't compete with the top dogs. Like, I know I'm not gonna beat them, but, you know, it gives me a good perspective on where I stand, and, you know, and it shows the resilience of a soldier.
Wow.
That young man is remarkable.
The resilience of a soldier, again, who did not let his disabilities to stand in the way of doing some great things. He's a neat guy.
Absolutely. Here in Orlando, we have several monuments and parks dedicated to our brave armed forces and members who have served. One of the newest is the real F-4 Phantom fighter jet that sits in Joe Kittinger Park.
Yeah, we were there for the ribbon cutting that happened late last year, and as Channel 9's Carla Ray explains, this park helped make a dream come true for one of our hometown heroes.
In front of hundreds, including Vietnam veterans.
It almost brought tears to my eyes.
And Vietnam natives for whom those veterans fought.
We basically dedicate our life to honor the veterans.
Colonel Joe Kittinger dedicated this F-4 Phantom in the park bearing his name.
I used to come here and watch airplanes take off and land and try to talk the pilots into give me a ride. But this was my field of dreams, and it worked.
The Vietnam War plane serving as the focal point at the park has been refurbished to its full glory, but it is not lost on anyone here of the battles it has been through and what it represents.
For those that were involved, special memories. This is memories forever. They're not all good, but it's still special memories forever. And to be able to see and witness something like this over 40 years later, it's hard to put in words.
And though this plane was dedicated to all of the veterans who served in Vietnam, it possibly means the most to Kittinger himself, not only representing his hard work and the sacrifice of many to bring the plane to the park to inspire others. He actually flew in this very aircraft while serving his country. Carla Ray, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Okay, so here's an interesting fact to add, that every person, company, and advisor who worked on that project did so for free.
That's right, labor of love. Now, shortly before that park opened, I got to sit down with Colonel Joe and talk about his service and how the 86-year-old hopes that it serves as motivation for others to dream big.
The F-4 Phantom was the most versatile airplane in the Vietnam War. The F-4 Phantom was used more than any other airplane in support of ground forces, bombing strategic and tactical targets in South Vietnam, North Vietnam, and Laos.
Sam Lassiter shot these home movies of the actual plane on display in the park. He worked as an F-4 crew chief during the Vietnam War.
I launched and recovered pre-flighted bomb loads, missile loads, everything with every airplane in the group, and this plane was in our group. This airplane, since it was in our section and since I worked on it so many times, it's personal to me. It almost brought tears to my eyes. For those that were involved, special memories. This is memories forever. They're not all good, but it's still special memories forever. And to be able to see and witness something like this over 40 years later, it's hard to put in words.
To the refugees who fled Vietnam, this plane is a symbol of their new freedom.
I came from Vietnam. I'm a boat people. I came directly here after the war. I grew up there when I was young. Came here like 21, 22 years old. So the entire war, I witnessed everything. Now our children are grew up. We basically dedicate our life to honor the veterans. Anything look like contribute to the Vietnam War and fought for our freedom, I want to be part of that. Colonel Kittinger is a United States Air Force officer, so I can see this is celebrate his life. He's a local hero. He's our hero.
He really is a hero, and if you've ever driven on the 408, you can clearly see it as you drive by. A fantastic monument for those who fought and died and fought and came home, like Colonel Joe Kittinger, and that's what he wants it to be, a constant reminder of the veterans who really gave it all in Vietnam.
We've already talked about some of the heroes who have helped keep our country free. Coming up, hear the stories from two of our anchors whose fathers served and how that service shaped their lives forever.
Welcome back to our show, Fireworks at the Fountain. We're glad you're with us. Happy 4th of July. We'll get to those fireworks for the grand finale in just a minute. But first, most of us know someone who was serving or has served in the military. And many of us have at least one family member who has helped defend our freedoms.
Our fellow Channel 9 anchors Bob Opsahl and Marty Saul each have fathers who served and want to share their stories with you this Independence Day.
Yes, we do, Vanessa, and happy 4th of July, by the way. Our parents are members of what is often called the greatest generation. And I believe one thing that makes them the greatest generation is they really don't think they did anything great.
That's true. Our dads are two of only about 1 million veterans left of the 16 million who served in World War II. My 92-year-old dad was a fighter pilot and later a bomber pilot. And when I've spoken with him about his 27 years in the Air Force, he said when he was young, serving was something everybody felt was their duty as Americans. This is how he looked 70 years ago during World War II after finishing primary flight school.
So now we're at war with Japan and Germany, the Axis. And so all the fellows my age were volunteering for various services. I chose the Air Force because I always wanted to fly an airplane.
We reminisced about his time in the service as we looked at some old photographs.
I will home with my mother and father.
His mom and dad were mighty proud, but probably apprehensive when he headed for the Pacific to fly P-51s. But he had only one real combat mission, a reconnaissance patrol off Aisha Island.
It was really not much because I got over to the Pacific late in the war. And this was shortly before they dropped the big bomb over there. And that ended the war, so there was no need for invasion, which probably saved millions of lives.
Yeah. After the war, my dad went back to civilian life. He married my mom and started a family. Yep, that's me. And there would eventually be 4 boys. But soon, another war was raging, and the Air Force called on him again.
I was recalled for the Korean War. And right after I was brought back into service, the Korean War ended.
So he didn't even go over there, but he was able to continue his dream of flying. Not fighters anymore, but bombers like the B-25, and jet bombers like the B-47 and the B-52. And then there was a new kind of war, the Cold War, when the world seemed on the verge of nuclear destruction. My dad was one of the many airborne guardians, making sure the Soviet Union was aware of the consequences of launching an attack. He was piloting a B-52 fully loaded with nuclear weapons.
We could take off on 24-hour missions, fly for 24 hours circling the North Pole, several refuelings, and then if everything was straight, nobody started a war, other units would come up and replace us, and we'd fly back to the United States.
What does that feel like when you're flying a B-52 with hydrogen bombs, and you know that any moment you may have to be released to go drop those bombs?
I guess that's something you just keep in the back of your mind. You've got a mission to perform, and you do it.
My dad was a protector of America, and he knows how important that job still is.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for whatever you're doing, wherever you are. We need you, always will need you. So stay strong.
And on this Independence Day, it is good to know that America is still strong, thanks to our military.
It sure is. And my dad's service in the Army began when he was drafted in the middle of his senior year in high school during World War II. In the fall of 1943, the U.S. was fighting wars in Europe and the Pacific. On the other side of the globe was an 18-year-old high school senior whose world revolved around a life in a small Kentucky town, something like Mayberry, only smaller. Even though he was still in high school, the Army called him up, and life was about to drastically change for Frank Salt.
It was adventure to me.
Just after Christmas Day that year, my dad boarded a Greyhound bus, like millions of GIs, and headed for parts unknown. What was your job when you were in the Army?
Never did really know.
Well, what do you think it was?
Well, you're supposed to be with this group. We were with a signal repair outfit.
He was actually part of the 191st Signal Repair Company, the youngest guy in his unit. I Googled his unit and found his picture. He spent part of his time in Burma, now Myanmar, and later the Philippines, where he recovered the remains of fallen American soldiers. Dad has said the blessing at our dinner table for as long as I can remember, and has included our armed forces in his prayers. But when I tried to ask him about that, neither one of us could barely get out the words. I know every time that you say the blessing at the dinner table, you always ask God to remember our troops.
Yeah, I don't remember that. But it could have happened. It could have happened, all right.
My dad came home in the fall of 1946 and quickly found my mother, Nancy, whom he met in their tiny high school. She'd worked in a munitions factory during part of the war. They married and raised a family that includes my older sister.
That's one of our Christmas dinners.
He was in the Army less than 2 years, earned these medals, and made lifelong friendships. He and my mom went to annual reunions for a long time. He's always spoken fondly of his time in the service, but I'm sure a lot of people can identify with his response to this question. Did you like the Army?
Yeah, it's fun, and not enough to re-enlist.
They just celebrated their 68th anniversary. They are coming up on birthdays. My dad will turn 90. My mom, a little bit older. He married an older woman.
Oh, good for him.
Yes, right.
My dad liked him a little younger by about a year and a half. My dad also liked the service well enough to re-enlist, and he said that's one of the best decisions of his life. Well, I'm glad we could share our family stories with you. So happy Independence Day, Greg and Vanessa.
Wow, what great stories. And again,
yes.
to Robert Sr. and Frank, thank you for your service. Outstanding. You know, there are thousands of veterans living in our Central Florida community, and we love being able to cover the stories of when good things happen to them.
In May, we told you about retired Sergeant Jackie Irving and his family, who were given a mortgage-free home in Sanford thanks to Operation Finally Home. And the Purple Heart recipient told Channel 9's Roy Ramos just how thankful he is for this organization and the volunteers.
Sergeant Irving, you're finally home.
Retired Army Sergeant Jackie Irving arrived escorted by Sanford Police and Fire to his new home off West 25th Street. They're waiting for his arrival, dozens of vendors and veterans to welcome him home.
You're welcome to stop by here anytime you need anything. Sandwich, a hug, a talk, a prayer.
It was all part of an organization called Operation Finally Home. The group provides newly constructed homes like this to deserving veterans and their families, mortgage-free. After the group's committee reached out to several military and VA hospitals, Army Sergeant Irving, his wife, and 4 children were chosen to be their 77th recipient.
They recommend families that are at the right stage of their recovery process.
Operation Finally Home just told me the house has been appraised for $350,000. They tell me they were able to construct the home for less than $40,000, and it was all possible through donations from local businesses and citizens.
Until it started all coming together, you would never know, and then this finishing of this is like a masterpiece.
Army Sergeant Irving served tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, but after he was struck by an IED while on foot patrol in 2012, he was forced to retire because of his injuries. While Irving's family has experienced their fair share of sacrifice, it is this group that was willing to sacrifice their time and effort constructing a home for a man who risked his life for our freedom.
I just thank everybody. You know, it's truly been a blessing.
In Sanford, Roy Ramos, Channel 9, Eyewitness News.
Now, since we first ran this story, the family ran into another hardship. Less than a week ago, someone broke in and stole Irving's guns and some electronics. The family says they're still very grateful, though, for their home, but they're worried that the attention they got may have made them targets. Sanford police are still searching for the burglars.
Hopefully they'll catch them. If you missed the grand finale of the fireworks at the fountain or just want to see them again, stick with us. We'll have one last look at this year's big event right after this.
Welcome back. Well, here is a live look at the traffic back up in downtown Orlando right now. Look at that. You can see the long line of cars there. This is on Orange Avenue in downtown. And just think, you didn't have to deal with any of that because you joined us right from the comfort of your home, and you're probably glad you did right about now.
That's right. Plus, you had the air conditioning on, and likely hot out here today.
Exactly.
And for the folks that were here, the good thing they didn't have was any wet weather.
Exactly.
Just heat.
It has been another successful year for fireworks at the fountain.
In case you missed any of it, want to send you off with one last look at this year's spectacular show. The grand finale really was grand.
It was. Thank you so much for joining us for the 2015 Fireworks at the Fountain.
Again, we hope you enjoyed the show. Come back again next year. Have a safe and happy 4th of July holiday.
Good night.